What's up, everyone? It's Trust the Profits coming at you. We are back with the Preakness Stakes. We're going to do a full field rundown with you tonight. 9 horses. I think there's 4 or 5 that everybody's kind of keen on, but we'll talk about all of them. Vinny Blonde, welcome back. What's up, man?
Not much, not much. I feel like at this point you don't really need to welcome me. I feel like I'm on here enough.
Yeah, you have become just kind of a regular. And
I'm just here.
Matthew, what up, dude? He's back second time. We enjoyed his presence so much the first time that we had him back, and hopefully you're as much of a smartass this time.
I appreciate it.
believe.
Yeah, no, this is great. I had a blast last time, and thanks for having me on again for the Preakness. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had Matthew on and Vinny, all the three of us. I can't. Did we have a fourth that night or no? I can't remember.
Yeah, we had Randy from
Triple
Clowns.
Clowns. Yep, and we hit on the Kentucky Derby. We all, and by the way, it was before Rich Strike was even in the field, so we all had him right.
Yeah. We all said get the also eligible. Get the also eligible in there.
Everybody pack it on a 21 horse, I think was the most commonly stated thing there. But anyway, we're talking about the Preakness, which is a 9-horse field. And I'll be honest with you. I've heard everything from this field is horrible and uninteresting to people who think this is a very interesting race. And it's probably a little top heavy, but if you are a fader of Epicenter, this looks like a really good betting race to me. Nothing like the Kentucky Derby, obviously, but let's take a look at the field here. And boys, we're going to go from post position number 1 and just go out. So let's talk about number 1, Simplification, morning line 6-1. Vinny, where are you at on, first of all, do you agree with the morning line at all? And second of all, your thoughts on Simplification?
I actually thought he'd be a little lower morning line considering how well he ran in the Derby, but 6-1's fair, I think. And I think especially if you don't like Epicenter, I think he's the next horse you kind of have to look to before you get to the Secret Oath. Simplification was still coming late in the Derby. He just had to go around a ton of horses. So if that's your angle that you like, if you were going to bet Rich Strike here, and obviously he's not here, I feel like Simplification's the horse you land on, because they were basically running together late. Just Rich Strike didn't have to go around horses. So.
Yeah. Simplification kicked out super wide. He did run a big race. I was impressed with his race. Matthew, how do you feel about Simplification? 6-1. First of all, do you agree with the morning line?
Yeah, I think like Vinny, I thought it might be a little bit lower, but considering the other 3, I understand it's probably the 4th choice, and I think 6-1 seems fair, and I think you're probably going to get 6-1, honestly, by post time. If not, maybe I wouldn't even be shocked if Simplification drifts up a little bit, just because I think there's going to be a lot of casual fan money going into Secret Oath, going into Epicenter. So I'll be interested to see how this line shifts by the time it goes to post. But I'm a big fan of Simplification. As I talked about last time, I was really high on this horse. We all were really high on this horse going in the Derby. And I thought ran a huge race. I thought he was always kind of clearly the best horse coming out of Florida. And what's interesting about Simplification is that he's evolved into a completely different type of horse than he was like 4 races ago, where people thought he was a need to lead type of horse. He needed to be, either 1-2 to have any success. And I mean, he was sitting 15th in that Derby and then made a charge. So, I think there's a lot to like here with Simplification. He draws the number 1 hole. 3 of the last 6 winners have come from that hole, including last year's winner, Rombauer, War of Will in 2019, American Pharaoh in 2015. He gets Johnny Velasquez aboard. I think he's going to want to show a little bit of tactical early speed, but I think he'll be able to sit a really nice mid-pack trip. And I like the way this race shapes up more and more the more I analyze this for him.
I agree. I really like him too. I think he's a must play underneath for any exotic bets. I think he's got a shot to win. My only fear here is that Epicenter is just too classy for anybody else in here, but we'll get to that later. But I do think, to me, I think he's probably my second choice overall. So moving on, let's go to number 2. Creative Minister, who's probably got the least amount of history, at least publicly, as far as big game knowledge goes. Creative Minister coming out, morning line 10-1. Vinny, agree or disagree with the morning line odds, and then what do you think his chances are and what needs to happen for him?
I agree with the morning line odds, just because of who else is in this field. Obviously, he does not have stakes experience yet, so 10-1 is fair. I don't think he goes off 10-1. He is kind of becoming the wise guy horse of this group.
True.
I really like him. I don't know if I was not expecting him to run here. I did have him on Derby Day. I've bet him in all 3 of his starts. He's been hyped since before his debut. He unfortunately didn't win the debut, but his last 2 races have been phenomenal, and he just seems to be getting better. So I mean, I'm not surprised they're taking a swing here. I'm gonna use him just because they also nominated him to the Belmont, and I feel like the connections paid to nominate him to here and the Belmont, and I feel like that's a telling sign that either they didn't put him on the Derby Trail, so I don't think they're rushing him here. I just think they know they have a very good horse, and especially if he wins here, you're never gonna get double-digit odds like this on him again. I mean, I think he's gonna go off around 6-7-1. But I don't think you won't get that again if he wins here either. So I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, I think 10-1's more than fair here, and I think he probably will drift down a little bit. Matthew, where you at on Creative Minister?
Yeah, it's funny. Vinny kind of took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say he's the wise guy horse. I mean, it just seems like that's the horse everybody's talking about and buzzing about. When I look at horses, I mean, I think we all have certain horses we tend to gravitate to in terms of types, in terms of, the sort of form that they come into the race with. One of the things I love is lightly raced horses with dramatically ascending speed figures, and that's exactly what you see with Creative Minister. This horse has yet to even get close to running his best race, whereas I think you could make an argument maybe Simplification has run his best race. Maybe Epicenter has run his best race. I mean, these are horses with a lot of foundation, have been running a lot as an early, 2 years old and 3-year-old. And here's Creative Minister kind of coming out of nowhere. I had a lot of strong words for his trainer last time I was on with you guys, Ken McPeak. I'm not a huge Ken McPeak fan, but what I'll say is I respect the owners for putting their money where their mouth is. They think this is a special horse, and they as Vinny said, they ponied up the cash to get into the field. And I absolutely am going to be using this horse underneath, and you're not going to get anywhere near 10-1. I think, 6-1. I wouldn't even be shocked if he goes off at 5-1, because I just think there's going to be a lot of money going into him. But if he just takes another step forward the way he has the last 2 times out, anything's possible. And he's just an impressive horse, and he's going to like the distance. So a lot to like there with Creative Minister in the number 2 hole.
Yes, I think he's a must play as well. And I have 4 must play, 3.5. I think we kind of joked about it. I said I like 3.5 horses here. I think he's a must play, and I think you'll get that even at 5-1 if he's on top of a try or something for you. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get paid, bro. So I like Creative Minister a lot too. Now let's move to number 3, Fenwick at 50-1. Why are we even talking about this horse in this race? Is there any reason that we need to discuss this horse at all, Vinny?
I think he is one of the 2 other horses that could be an early factor in the pace. I don't think he's got a shot to win. I mean, maybe, but I don't see it. No, I know I've seen some people make arguments for it.
How many beers have you had before you go on?
His best races are when he goes to the front. Yeah. I don't think he's as quick as early voting. I don't think any of the other quote unquote speed horses here are as quick as early voting. But if he can go out and apply pressure for a half mile on early voting, changes the entire complexion of the race. We said a similar thing about Summer is Tomorrow going into the Derby. I don't think any of us thought he was going to run a sub 22 opening quarter. Yeah. But we all kind of figured like the horse is going to break out of the gate and he's going to be a major pace presence. And that's kind of what I see with Fenwick, is that he's going to try to get the lead. I don't think he's going to be able to.
Is he even fast enough to harm everybody like Summer is Tomorrow is though?
I don't think so, but it's the only shot this horse has. They're going to try to send him to the lead. And if he can at least put pressure on for a half mile, it opens up the race for a lot of these other horses rather than everybody chasing lone speed in early voting. So I just think he's one of the 2 horses I think that could change the complexion of the race, while I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the finish.
Matthew, any thoughts on Fenwick? Are we wasting our time talking about him? Go ahead.
I agree with Vinny in that he's a horse that is not going to be anywhere near the winners at the end, but he could have an impact. And I actually have a feeling, based upon some things Chad Brown said about 3 weeks ago before early voting scratch from the Derby, I have a feeling Chad Brown might actually want either Fenwick or another horse we'll talk about here in a second, Armagnac, to get to the lead. Actually, I think he wants early voting to rate because he made some comments that he's afraid early voting gets lost in the lead. And it's going to be curious if they are like really hell bent on getting to the lead. That actually might play into early voting's hands a little bit to go for it. Like, I'll let you kind of take the lead. I'll put pressure on you rather than the other way around. But I agree with Vinny that early speed dynamic is going to shape the outcome of this race. And I don't think we're going to have lone speed just running loose up front and everybody kind of chasing it. So he absolutely has an impact on the shape of this race, but not on the, he's not going to be maybe within eye shot, when they cross the finish line.
Yeah. So we're all in tossing him as far as your tickets go.
Toss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too. So we go to 4, the filly, who is going to, and we talked about this a little bit, Vinny, the other night, Secret Oath, 9-2 morning line. Vinny seems to think that she's going to go down a lot from there because of the filly factor, which is obviously cool. I mean, everybody wants to see a filly beat the boys, including me. I actually hammered Swiss Skydiver a couple of years ago, and that was one of my best hits ever. But the Secret Oath, is she outclassed here? I mean, does she have a shot at 9-2? And then where do you think that the post time odds could go for her? Vinny, go.
I think she's going to be closer to like the 3-1, 7-2 range. Personally, I think she is going to take. I think of everybody else besides Epicenter, she's going to take the most money. That said, I wasn't huge on her until earlier this week when the Connections and Lucas kind of set out their whole summer plan for Secret Oath. They're going here.
Yeah.
They're going to the coaching club. Yeah, they're going to coaching club. They're going to Alabama. And then if everything still is going okay, they're going to go to the Cotillion. I absolutely love when Connections do that because they are basically saying, hey, if you want to run in these races, you have to go through us. And she's already, I mean, maybe there are, arguably the other couple of the other horses that ran behind her in the Oaks are just as good. But they basically said, like, hey, we're running in this race, and then we're running in 3 of the biggest races for 3-year-old fillies that there are. So if you want to win those, yeah, you have to go through us. I love when Connections do that. It's been a while since Connections have really laid out a plan like that. So because of that, I did elevate her a little bit here. Because I originally wasn't going to use her and I was just going to try to beat her, but because of that, I am going to use her here because if they're that confident and they're going to lay out the next 4 or 5 months for her, and they're saying like this is where she's going, I'll take her here because she won't be this price against the fillies. So
no, she won't even be 1-1 against the fillies. Matthew, your thoughts on Secret Oath? Does she have a shot here?
She absolutely has a shot because we saw her in the Arkansas Derby have a bad trip and pass a bunch of boys. And so if she can do that with a bad trip, and now granted, Cyberknife would probably be the 5th choice in this race, but still, like, I mean, the point is she can pass the boys. That's not a problem. You look at the bottom end of this field. You said it up top. It's a top heavy field. She can absolutely get past, I think, 4 or 5 of these horses pretty easily. And now it's just a matter of how high do you like her? I'd probably like her a little bit kind of like maybe hitting the board, including her maybe on a superfecta sort of a thing. I just don't know if she gets there. I think it's so rare to see the fillies run against the boys, and typically you need that more front running style. I think that would benefit. Like you saw with Rachel. And so, and even Swiss was a little bit more aggressive. So I think that I just worry a little bit about the way this race shapes up for her, but I think she'll be there at the end. She'll be a contender throughout. I mean, she's not going to get outclassed. That's for sure. But I see her I have a simplification kind of above her. I have Epicenter above her. So she's kind of might be my 3rd or 4th choice.
Okay, good. How do you feel about post time odds with her? Before we close out on
I agree with Vinny. I think 3-1. I think maybe she's going to go down. She's going to go down.
All right. So now here's the most polarizing horse, at least in my world. The 5 early voting, morning line 7-2. This is my, when I said I liked 3.5 horses here, this is my half, because I don't know. I don't see it on the numbers. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little too analytical math. Maybe I'm too numbers oriented, but I don't see it in the numbers that this horse is anywhere near 7-2. I think he's clearly the 4th or 5th choice. I don't see it, but I'm interested to hear what you guys got on him. Vinny, early voting, the 5, 7-2. Is that too? Is it too high, too low? Where are you at?
It's too low for me. I feel like we know he's not Chad Brown's best horse, and that's my big issue. If this was Zandon, you were giving me 7-2 to take another run at Epicenter, sure.
Right. Yep.
This is not his best horse. He kept this horse in New York for the Derby preps. He had no excuse not to beat Mo Donegal. Yeah, he just I keep coming back to that. He had zero excuse not to close that race out. He set soft fractions up front, and he just got run down. And I'm not saying that Mo Donegal isn't as good as some of these in the field, but if he couldn't win that, I really don't see how he can how he can win here. Now, he could rate, like you said earlier, Matt, that Chad Brown kind of suggested that he wants him to rate. But even then, it's not like he's shown a great turn of foot.
Yeah.
So, like, he kind of seems like he's just a plotter. And I think he'll run his race. I don't think he's going to, like, finish out the back of the field. I just don't. He's kind of like Simplification, where you know what they're going to run. It's just probably not going to be good enough in most case scenarios from here on out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, along the same lines of, I was a little surprised he was the second choice. I was particularly with Fenwick and Armagnac drawing in, because then you kind of all of a sudden saw that early speed might look a little bit different, and it might not just be this layup, going around setting easy fractions. I also go back to that Wood Memorial, just getting, run down at the wire by Mo Donegal. And I don't know how much this horse wants to get stretched out more. It's important to point out, this horse is a hot mess. This horse is, if you remember him before the Withers, it took him like 5 to 7 minutes to get him into the gate at the Withers.
Yeah,
I mean, they were backing other horses out, and it was that bad. I mean, it was. And so he's a little bit of a head case. And I just saw one of the reporters for DRF today said they took him around the paddock at Pimlico, and he was acting up and kind of hot and bothered. And you throw 100,000 Marylanders who are all going to be out of their damn minds drunk, screaming at this horse at the starting gate. It's going to be so. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like early voting here, and I just think if you're, to Vinny's point, if he's going to try to rate, he's not really shown that before, obviously, and if he tries to do it, this is kind of a high wire act with no safety net. I'm going to try to rate in the Preakness for the first time. Maybe not the best time to do that. I mean, you saw what Epicenter did, kind of doing that at the Louisiana Derby leading up to the Kentucky Derby. Let's have this experience for this horse. So, I'm kind of out on early voting, and that helps me elevate some other prices a little bit higher on my tickets.
Yeah, I hope he stays. I personally hope he stays at 7-2. I don't think he will, but I think he's going to be about like 4 or 5 to 1. I don't know. I'm probably going to fade him. I'll probably key everything around Epicenter. And like I said, the 3.5 thing, I'm leaning towards the 3 and leaving early voting off, except that maybe he tries or supers. I mean, I don't see him in the top 2 here. But we'll move on. Happy Jack, 30 to 1. And he's kind of become a punchline for us here. I mean,
although he outrun, because you said like you were going to give.
I would have won. I wouldn't have had to Brooklyn Bridge.
Okay, because it was something like he had to finish 15th or better, I thought, and he finished 14th.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Was it 15th? Because I thought I was trying to.
I thought it was 16th. I thought you said 16th.
In any case, he finished 14th, which was admirable. Other than the blistering pace, but I don't think he's in here for any other reason. By the way, I wanted to throw in early voting is kind of become renowned as the Jeffrey Dahmer of horses, personality wise. Just wanted to throw that out there since I'm a serial killer guy. Can't be contained by any other humans.
Ugh.
So anyway, Happy Jack 30-1. It could be 300-1, and I wouldn't put $2 on him. You guys, anything? Can we just skip past this one, please, Vinny? Go.
I thought
here we go.
I thought he'd be 70-1 in the Derby, and he went off at 22-1, I think.
23-1. 23-1.
Wow.
That was the most baffling thing of the entire day. Like,
Did
even
they think it
beyond
was
Rich
Smile
Strike,
Happy? Did they get confused? I don't understand.
I think there must just be that many people named Jack. Like, there must just be. So like
I didn't even realize that he went off at 23-1.
He's 30-1 on the morning line. I won't be surprised if he gets bet down off of that, which is crazy. Yeah, I thought he'd be nice. He has done nothing. And the fact that he was 23-1 in the Derby was just outlandish. And I mean, I believe a big part of that was Jack Harlow and Drake put 6 figures on him each. But either way, like, he still
because they're knowledgeable,
right? Because they took stupid money though. Like, I didn't understand it. He should be in my opinion, he should be the longest shot on the board here over Fenwick. Because at least Fenwick, I think, won 2 races back, even though it wasn't a great field. He at least found the winner's circle and has been competitive in races. Happy Jack hasn't been competitive in like 5 straight starts now or something. Like, he's a toss.
To Vinny's
Matt,
point,
what do you get? You got anything to say on him? Or
he's getting the blinkers added. He should be a little bit more forwardly placed than he was last time. Important to point out, the last 3 races, he's been at least 10 lengths back by the half-mile call. He has finished 69 lengths back combined in his last 5 races. And so I think he will
69 in the last 5. So we're looking at what, 12? I'm not a mathematician, but 12. He averages losing by 12 lengths. So that's solid. That's where you want to start if you're putting your money on something. Go ahead.
Exactly. So he's a toss for me. I see people trying to talk themselves into him.
No,
I just don't see it at all. So I'm with Vinny. I just toss and move on.
That's the angle though. The 69 lengths in the last 5 races. There's your angle.
Please don't bet him, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, let us help you. If there's one thing you take away, please. Let's go. 7, Armagnac, however you want to pronounce it. 12-1 morning. I don't know. Vinny, go ahead. I'll hold off until I hear what you guys have to say about Armagnac.
I think he is just about as good as Happy Jack in reality.
Ooh.
I don't like him at all. They tried him against Stakes Company a couple starts back, and he was supposed to be this pace presence, and he wasn't. I don't think he's that quick out of the gate. I'm not a fan of the double trainer change. Mm-hmm. This seems like the connections they just wanted a Preakness horse. 12-1 on the morning line. 1 is way too short, but I mean, if he takes money, okay, he's going to make all the other payouts better. I don't think he's got a shot here.
I was surprised at the morning line too. Matthew, anything positive to say on this horse or no?
Not really. I was also stunned at the 12-1 because he finished behind Happy Jack at the stakes races, and so which should tell you everything you need to know. This is a horse that only wins when he gets the lead, and has only won on Lasix. He's not going to get the lead. He's not going to be on Lasix. Well, that doesn't add up to a very successful trip to Pimlico for him. I don't see this horse having an impact. I'm stunned he was 12-1. If he takes money, great, but I just don't see any logic in this horse.
Okay, let's move on. We got the last couple here. Epicenter 6-5 morning line, the world's favorite, probably in many opinions the best of this 3-year-old crop. In my opinion, he is as well. 6-5. I hope he goes off at that. I don't think it's realistic. I'm going to key every single dollar that I put on this race on him involved, and then hope that a price comes over the top of him in a trifecta or exacta. But I really don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, a heavy morning line favorite, and will be a heavy post time favorite. Vinny, are we with him, against him? Can you possibly fade him? Go.
I'm with him. I actually think in like a month's time, we're going to be talking about how the rail opening up in the Derby prevented the Triple Crown this year. I think he's gonna roll here, and I think he's gonna roll in the Belmont. To be honest with you, I think he showed in the Derby he is just far and away right now the best 3-year-old, and I don't even think it's close. I really don't.
What about Rich Strike for the naysayers? What about Rich
No,
Strike? Come on,
I
bro.
saw Huddy tweeted earlier today. Like it was like if I gave you 6-1 on Rich Strike right now for the Belmont, would you take it? And he was surprised by how many people were saying no, in that they would need at least double digit odds to play him. And I think that's completely accurate. I don't.
Yeah, true. Me too.
I just the way that race developed, the fact that Epicenter was even there at the end, I'm 100% okay with backing him here. If he's around 6-5, it would make it better. If he's shorter than 6-5, I probably will play a saver ticket where I key him in second, because I don't think he's invincible, but in reality,
he hasn't won in, and
he loses
in the heaviest hitting
losses,
races. He hasn't won. He's gotten second, which is the only thing you can say against him.
Right. His 2 losses this year have been to 2 horses who have closed out of the clouds that he hasn't seen. And I don't see anybody in this race closing I mean, maybe Skippy Longstocking, but we'll get to that. I don't see anybody really closing from the clouds that isn't he's not going to be able to just match up with. Because that's what he did with Zandon. Zandon came to him and they moved him right over to Zandon, and he was never they could have went around again and Zandon was never getting by.
It looked like essential quality and highly motivated the year before.
Right. He was never getting by. And that's Epicenter just knows how to win. He knows how to win against the horse he gets matched up against in the stretch. The issue was he didn't see the closer. And it's the second time this year that's happened to him. So that's how I think that's the only way he loses. If for some reason if the pace gets ridiculously hot and somebody flies home. But
it's not happening here, I don't think.
I don't see it happening here. So yeah, he is my pick.
Matthew, you have any possibility of fading Epicenter in your right mind, or you have to put him on everything?
I think you have to put him on everything. I can't get around him in any kind of scenario. Here's the kicker. He doesn't need to run his best race to win this. And I think that's the most important thing to keep in mind, that he's going to have the perfect trip. He's going to be breaking from a little further outside. He's going to be able to slot in wherever he really wants. He's going to be able to rate. He can, he can handle the distance, the pace. I think there's a difference when we talk about a contested lead versus a hot pace. There may very well be a contested lead with Epicenter and Fenwick and Armagnac, but it's not going to be a hot pace though. And Epicenter is just going to be able to sit right behind that. And that's why I think he and Simplification are going to have the 2 best trips in this entire field. And they're going to be able to kick for home. And, to Vinny's point, I mean, there's some late chargers, but nothing that's going to scare Epicenter. And so, Joel Rosario is going to know where everybody's coming from, especially in a smaller field. I mean, when you have a 20-horse field, it's a little harder to have your head on a swivel and to know where everybody's coming from when they're, 15 paths out. So I think there's just no way to get around him. I think he is the class. He's done everything right. And it's funny. I was talking to somebody else the other day and brought up the point that Vinny made, which is, when was the last time we had the Preakness and Belmont champion who came in second at the Derby? I don't know if that's happened any time in recent memory, but you're right. I mean, we could be talking about, Rich Strike screwing up the Triple Crown this year.
Yeah. Because he really does the way he kind of does remind me of a Fleet Alex. I think he could be that level talented in this.
Yeah. I do too. I do too. I think very highly of Epicenter. And what do you guys think he's going to go 3-5? I feel like he's going to be 3-5, 4-5.
I was thinking 4-5. I was thinking 4-5.
Yeah, I hope somewhere in that range. I think there's a lot of people that are going to try to beat him though. I think
you have to. It's the only way to. Honestly, it's the only way to bet, unless you're putting whatever your bankroll is. For me, it'd be like $500 to win on him.
I think without Secret Oath, he probably could go 3-5. But I think between the money that Secret Oath is going to take and the money Creative Minister is going to take and get bet down from their lines, and then with Simplification early voting, I think probably 4-5 would be the lowest you see him. I think he should be 3-5. I do think he should be 3-5 or lower. But yeah, if he stays around 6-5, I will be heavily betting him.
So we're all in agreement. You cannot fade Epicenter in any format. So let's move. Number 9, Skippy Longstocking. This is a Sappy Joseph joint. Talked about him a little bit when I had an interview with him just before the Bluegrass Stakes. He was pretty high on this horse. I don't know. He's 20-1 morning line. I am fading. I don't think he's at the level of the top 3 or 4 here. Vinny, 20-1. Is that right or wrong? And then what do you see happening here with Skippy Longstocking?
I think him and Armanak's morning line should have been flipped. But with that said, I'm fading him. I'm sticking to my in these top level races outside of Florida. Saffy's got to beat me. That's how it is.
And it hasn't happened.
No, as a underneath though, like I might use this horse in a like underneath in the 3rd spot in a trifecta as a bomb because I think he will be moving late, and I already in my mind he's better than Armagnac, Happy Jack, and Fenwick. So really, like if he beats one of the other,
it wouldn't be wild if he got 3rd, right?
Right. Yeah. It wouldn't be wild if he got 3rd. I do think you're going to get every bit of that 20-1 morning line on him. So for that reason, I'll use him underneath, but I don't think he can win, and I won't play Saffy in one of these big grade 1s outside of Florida until he does.
Matthew, your thoughts? Skippy Longstocking.
Similar. I like him to finish underneath. I think that Wood Memorial finishing 3rd. Here's the other thing. He's fresh. 6 of the 9 horses in this race are coming in on 2 weeks rest. Armagnac coming off of even less than that. Ran actually the Sunday after the Derby. Creative Minister ran on the Derby undercard. So, and then obviously you have all the Derby horses and the Oaks horse. So, he's got fresh legs. He likes the distance. His sire, Exaggerator, won the Preakness. There's a lot of things you can kind of talk yourself into with this horse. I can talk myself into him underneath for sure. I mean, that Wood Memorial kind of flattened out a little bit, coming down the stretch, but kind of made an initial move. I should like the distance. I can absolutely see him, kind of surprising and kind of getting a nose in front for 3rd potentially here. So it definitely would kind of use on the bottom end of my tickets because you're right. In a race there where there's not a lot of big numbers, he's probably the biggest number that you're going to get a post time that I think has a legitimate shot.
All right, boys. So, all right, let's talk. Let's finish it off with this. I'm going to throw out, if I give you $100 in cash, where are you putting your money at? I didn't even warn you on this question because I wanted it to be fresh in your mind. If I give you $100 in cash, you want to make a little money. I'm not asking you to make 10 grand with it. I'm asking you to make some money with $100. How are you betting it, Vinny?
I am keying. I would key Epicenter in an exacta over Simplification and Creative Minister. $50 each.
Sounds smart. Matthew, any
I feel bad like copying Vinny's ticket. That's like largely. I mean, I think when we went through, like largely we see this race eye to eye. That I also have Epicenter up top, Simplification second, and then I would probably I'd probably do 2 tickets, one with Creative Minister, one with Skippy Longstocking, just because I am probably a little higher on that horse than maybe Vinny is, and so maybe try to get a little bit of value there. But I think the top 2 are the top 2 in my opinion. Of Secret Oath of Epicenter and Simplification.
Yeah, and again, I'll do a trifecta. Epicenter, a key box with Epicenter, hoping that he gets second actually, with the 1, 2, 4 Simplification, Creative Minister, and Secret Oath, and hope that one of the others come on top and pay out big. But I don't see it happening, but that's wishful thinking. I think Epicenter walks here. I think we all kind of would be surprised if he didn't. Anything else to close out, Vinny?
I don't think so.
Are you excited for are you guys excited for this race, or is this kind of a blah race? Let's be honest.
So I'm going on Saturday. I'm just in Northern
nice.
Virginia, so I'm shooting up I-95 to go to Pimlico. So I'm excited. And one of the things I do think that might be important to just watch in the post parade is it's going to be 96 degrees on Saturday in Baltimore. I would really look at, do any of these horses look lathered up? Do any of these horses look like they're already spent
They have not been in 96 degrees. Trust me.
No, I mean the only one who might have been is like Simplification down in Florida last year, but like I mean not recently. And so I that's something to keep in mind. It's going to be ridiculously hot, so that might end up having a little bit of an impact. If while I'm there, I'm going to be paying close attention to who looks spent, who looks worn out, who looks washed, and try to see if there's something there maybe.
And we absolutely expect you to share that knowledge when it's there.
Of course. And I will also try my best, even though I will not be participating in the infield activities. I will still try my best to get pictures of ridiculous things happening at the track, which is bound to happen.
You're not going to run in the porta potty race.
I was 24 once, and I was there once, and I did those sorts of things once. And that I am 40. I'm 41 years old now, and I am sitting in air conditioning in the reserve seats on Saturday. So that is where I'm going.
I'm excited for it because I think I really think that this could be whoever wins here hopefully goes to the Belmont. I would assume if it's creative minister Simplification or Epicenter, I fully expect them to be in the Belmont. So I think it could be huge if Secret Oath wins. It's going to be that would be big news for the year. So I do think it's a bigger race. I do think the fact that the Derby winner is not in it did take a lot of steam out of the race for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see the views that viewership was pretty high this year for the Derby.
Huge.
I don't think I'm assuming ratings will still be up from last year. I don't think they're going to be I don't think you're going to see anything ridiculous with them.
It was the highest since the Super Bowl, I read. So
yeah, so I think it's going to be a good set. It's going to be a good setup for the rest of the 3-year-old year. There's some great undercard races that seem like very good betting races. The Pimlico Special looks like a very good betting race in my opinion. With First Captain being 5-1 on the morning line, I love First Captain, so that is my pick in the Pimlico Special. But there's some good turf races. The weather is going to be a factor though, because you are going to see some of these horses being very hot with the weather. But the weekend, the card's not. I mean, it's not the Derby card, but it's not bad for Pimlico.
Yeah, and I would say as somebody who kind of pays attention to this Mid-Atlantic circuits, it's also a fun opportunity for some of these Mid-Atlantic horses to get a little bit of shine, and for people to see horses on a Friday like a Luna Bell who's in the Black Eyed Susan, or a horse who has one of my favorite names, simply Joe, the horse named Joe, who's going to be running on the turf under one of those turf races on the undercard on Derby Day. Local motive, you see some of the local horses, local connections, local trainers getting some national spotlight. And I think that's always good just to grow the game in the Mid-Atlantic. So I'm excited for that. And I think it's a competitive field. I think you could talk yourself into a lot of horses, in terms of the Preakness, 2 through 5 could go a lot of different directions. I think we all like Epicenter up top. We went Simplification a lot too, but there's a lot of variability underneath there. And that'll make for a fun race, even if maybe some names that people know aren't going to be there.
Yeah,
exactly. So, hey, listen, cheers. Good luck, everybody, at Pimlico this weekend. Stay cool, Matt. Vinny, good luck, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and take care. Peace.